Hello future millionaires, this is Aztec and this is the CSC. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the charts, some more no fluff, no puff charting. Also, I've been wanting to start incorporating some fundamental analysis or fundamentals into my videos. Not just any kind of fundamentals, not basic fundamentals, but more advanced fundamentals, because it is important to not only understand technical analysis, at least from a real basic kind of overview, but also to understand fundamentals, because it can either help you trade, knowing FA and TA, or it could even help you understand what's going on in the market. Why did the market crash? Why did it take off? And this makes you a more effective investor in this space. So I'm going to be sharing, the fundamentals that I'm going to be sharing are more advanced things that I've learned from millionaires, whales, people that I've worked with in this space for years. And if you are interested in this, go ahead and stay tuned. Go ahead and like and subscribe for more videos like this. And I always want to try to end the videos on just kind of the news, because that kind of helps make you more well-rounded. So we've got a lot to talk about. Basically, let's go ahead and take a look at the chart. We've been falling, everyone knows that. Recently broke out of this descending wedge. We broke upwards here, and then we pretty much fell from there. And recently, in the last day, we've been making some very interesting candles. So let's go ahead and zoom into these candles to take a look at what's going on. We are on the 4-hour BTC to USD Coinbase chart, and I'm using the 4-hour chart because I want to go ahead and get a better idea of what may be happening in the short term. So basically, we've been falling, and we initiated this doji. Dojis can be seen as kind of like an indecisive candle. The market doesn't know where it's going, basically, or it can be bullish at the bottom of a downtrend, which we are at a bottom currently of a downtrend. Right after that doji, we had a bullish hammer here showing some strength, and then another doji, a spinning top, and this candle's still underway. Now, why it's interesting, guys, is because these candlesticks at the bottom of a huge fall like we've been making, not only are these candlesticks kind of rare, you don't see these kind of candlesticks very often within this, all of this bleeding that we've been doing, but they can either suggest two things. I guess on a bearish note, they could suggest that the market doesn't know where it's going. Should we follow the overall trend and keep falling? Or on a more bullish note, it could suggest that the market is trying to stem the bleeding, and we are buying more. There's more buys being put in. The algo bots are starting to either notice more purchase orders on the books, so they're also buying and creating strength, and they're noticing that. Or it could be that the algo bots are just programmed to show strength at the support for some reason. And you can see that there is some strength here. So this is interesting to see with all these candles kind of right back to back. So generally in this instance, because this could be, like I said, seen as indecision, we would just go ahead and look at the rest of the indicators that we have. So, I mean, we're below our EMAs. There's nothing that we can really see from this. I use the quadruple EMAs. If we look at the RSI, we are making higher lows. If we start at this doji, the RSI was 35. At this low, we're at 39. And currently we're at 41, so we'll see where this next low ends. So we're seeing some bullish sentiment on the RSI. It is pointing upward, and we definitely have room to grow, but again, we have room to go down, because we've seen lows as low as like 24 over here, and even lower in the past. So the RSI is a little insignificant at this time. And if we look to the MACD, we do see the histogram growing. We're basically, the MACD is moving further away from the trend line, so we've basically scooped above the trend line, which is slightly bullish. So The indicators are slightly bullish. The candlesticks can be suggesting indecision or bullishness. So this is really interesting, guys. Is this a bottom? Or is there more bleeding? I do believe that no one should be trying to call a true bottom. You try to call a bottom, as they say, it's a falling knife, and that knife can go straight through your hand and keep falling. So it's not good to call a bottom, but it is interesting to see these candles. Tell me what you guys think. Anyways, in general, I do want to kind of go over this crypto calendar site. I have brought this to your guys' attention many times in my videos, and every time I have brought up the CBOE XBT expiration dates, we have seen huge falls in the past. Now, the reason I'm bringing it to you guys' attention today is because we could see a different situation play out. I have basically been talking to a lot of my contacts, and we're really kind of wondering what's going to happen. So this next expiration date is on January 16th here, and it's going to be December 19th. That's going to be the next expiration date, and we may see something different. Like I said, we've always seen a nice downtrend before that expiration date. But if this is a bottom, things could be different. Now, this is why. Essentially, what's been happening is ever since futures have started back in December of last year, on the expiration dates, we've seen, most of the time, we've seen the market kind of crash. And this is kind of like a fundamental that I'm going to share with you guys. Basically, from my understanding, Wells buy Bitcoin over the counter, or OTC, and they take that OTC Bitcoin, usually they get it for a lower price than what you see on exchanges, so they can sell that Bitcoin for a lot lower than a lot lower than the sell price on exchanges. They'll take that Bitcoin, they'll put it on an exchange, they will short via the futures contract that they make, and at the end of the contract, they'll let the market go where it's going to go. Usually, if you look in the past, there's been upward movement, and towards the end of that contract, they'll sell that cheap Bitcoin that they got over the counter to create sell pressure. The algo bots will sell, people will panic, and they basically profit through the contract because they have shorted. So essentially, that's kind of why we usually see the market kind of crash when it gets close to the expiration dates. Now, in the future, what will be interesting to see is, will these whales go along on their futures contracts? If they understand that institutions are getting in, that this could be seen as a bottom and people could start buying in, their sell pressure can really be mitigated, and it may really be more lucrative for them to go long. And in that case, we could see buy pressure from the wells. So this is really interesting, guys. This is something that I want to see. Coming up, we have this date. Are we going to see sell pressure from the wells, or are we going to see buy pressure? And that will be interesting because that will indicate that we may start seeing higher highs. So something to look forward to, guys. This is just a fundamental I wanted to share with you guys. Tell me what you guys think about this entire futures contract fiasco and whatnot. So anyways, here's my channel. I have 180 subscribers. It is a small channel, but I'm glad and happy that all of you guys are following and checking out my videos. I've had a lot of you guys find me on Telegram. I've had some very interesting conversations with you guys recently. So you can find me on the Cardano trading Telegram. We've had talks about trading, the candlesticks, the charts. You can kind of pick my brain there. Also, I've had some kind of fundamental conversations and just some really deep conversations. The other day I was talking to someone and they were explaining that they really disliked traders because they felt like they were robbing the community. And I just explained to this person, I am very blunt because I want people to understand the truth, of how the market works. I don't think that anyone should kind of fluff the situation that we're in, or the market, because people can lose a lot of money when they don't understand why things work or why things are the way they are. So I am pretty blunt, but I try to keep it as nice as possible. So I explained to this guy, basically traders sell high because they are trying to protect their portfolios. All investors should try to do that. Why take losses? It doesn't make sense, especially when this is the game we're playing. This market is set up this way, and if you have basic technical analysis skills, you can trade and sell high and buy low. And it's not robbing anyone, because it takes two to basically buy and sell. Someone has to sell and someone has to buy at some point, and you're, as a buyer, when you have sold high and you're then trying to buy lower, you are essentially paying the person that is selling the price that they're asking for. So you're not robbing them. It was the person's choice to sell. I feel that a lot of people nowadays are very upset, and it's very understandable. It's very understandable because they're seeing their portfolios fall, the value of them. People may use money that is you really should be used for their budget and their living expenses. That's why I always tell everyone, my friends and family, use money that's extra, that you don't need, that you never see again, that you could basically, have splurged somewhere else, but that you're using wisely here. Because if you lose it, who cares? And also because you never have to touch that money. You can wait out the bear market and wait till the market is green again if you want to sell, And I understand why some people are very upset, because they sold and or they had to sell, at a loss. So I get it, but the thing is, traders are buying at a price that is being offered by the seller. So it's not robbing someone if you're paying them exactly what they're selling something for. I think the true concern is when people are in a project, they sell high and then never come back to the project, never reinvest the money they made back in the project. That can be seen as upsetting, but it's not a trader's fault for trying to protect their portfolio. Generally a lot of traders I know, they have the projects that they really like, and if they do sell high, they'll reinvest the profits back into that project when they buy in lower. So the value and the money that is profited goes right back into the project. So it's again, it's not stealing. So it's pretty interesting, the types of conversations that I've been having with people, and it's really fun to talk to you guys and help explain things. There's some people that are explaining things to me. I'm learning. I'm not a know-it-all by any means. So it's really nice to talk to you guys, and for some of you guys to PM me and get my opinion. So anyways, if you want to find me, you can find me on the Cardano channel. We have all kinds of interesting conversations. Just recently, me and a couple of the Cardano guys were basically kind of fending off trolls and and things. So it's interesting. You know, it's a fun little thing I like to do on the side. And you guys can catch me in the Cardano trading Telegram and other Cardano Telegram channels. Now, to get into the news, there wasn't that much today, so just wanted to go over some articles that I found interesting. This article is from CNN, and it says $1 million bet. Crypto hedge fund wagers crypto to outperform stock market this decade. So this is kind of cool. Basically, Morgan Creek puts up a $1 million wager, $1 million wager, inviting investors who believe the crypto market won't outperform the S&P 500 to put their money where their mouth is, according to a CNBC report. So, you know, I can go ahead and link all the articles I'm going to talk to you guys about today down below. But it is really interesting that we're seeing these funds kind of, you know, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and these essentially smart money really believes in the future of Bitcoin so much that they're going to put down, you know, $1 million down as a bet. So it's kind of a fun article. Another article I found, this is a pretty influential guy here, and the title says, "This is my third crash in crypto market and I am not fazed by it." And this is a guy from Ripple or XRP, basically from Ripple. This is Ashish Birla, and essentially what he said is this here. He says, "This is my third crash now in the crypto market and I am not fazed by it. The flip side is that sometimes you crash and take out all the folks who are not focused on solving real problems and real use cases. And I think you are going to see some really interesting companies come out of this next downturn." And I think the statement is really interesting. I like to follow the stars in the space, the influential people in the space, because they generally have a better understanding of where the market's going. And you can learn a lot from these guys. You know, their knowledge is you know, very great. So I always want to stay learning. So I follow, you know, a lot of people, and I use Twitter to follow a lot of people. I read articles like this from CoinGate. Basically, it is interesting to see that you know, a veteran of the market is basically unfazed by this crash. You know, a lot of people are really upset, you know, nowadays, and I understand why they're upset. But you know, the veterans are unfazed, so it kind of shows you that if you hang on, you know, there's a good chance that Bitcoin can do very well in the future, and that this is just a blip on the map. Another article here, this is from CNN again, CCN, sorry. Basically, it says market recovers by 5 billion, but why are Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash plunging? Essentially, the first part of this article is what stood out to me. It says, over the last 24 hours, the crypto market has added 5 billion to its valuation, demonstrating a slight recovery from 106 billion to 111 billion. Despite the recovery of the market, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash continue to fall in value, both recording a 3% drop against the US dollar. Basically, this article is interesting to me because we really are seeing a fluctuation in the sentiment of the market. A lot of investors are starting to pull out from certain projects because they're losing a lot of faith, and it is interesting to see where the money's going. You know, I think it's pretty telling when you see these projects dropping off from the bottom of, let's say, CoinMarketCap, or the projects that are falling harder than the other ones. It's very interesting to see where these projects are going, and where the investors and the smart money and the whales are going. Of course, we know Ethereum has had issues with scaling, and Bitcoin Cash, a lot of people really just dislike them at this point, the project. I think that both of the projects have their place and can have their place in the future if they, you know, get their act straight. and then they are great projects, but you know, they definitely have some very some big flaws at this time. So it's just an interesting article, you know, to see where the money is going and see some of these kings of crypto fall so hard. Unfortunately, Cardano has recently fallen a little bit. That's my favorite project. Um, so it's pretty hard to see us move from, you know, the top 10 like we have. But you know, I guess because I am such a diehard enthusiast and I see what is around the corner for Cardano, I'm really unfazed by the current price. But I do see where sentiment is going. So yeah, guys, never give up on the future of money. Tell me what you think about this video. And if you have any questions, come find me on the Cardano Trading Telegram. Take it easy, guys.